What's up, my people in YouTube? Welcome back to another video in this channel. The last weekend I went to the OTS Championship here in my locals in the hobby shop, and I actually played Virtual Worlds, got second place. I was not gonna play this deck. I just didn't know what to play on Friday evening. I stayed up until 4 a.m. just thinking what I was gonna play. Woke up on Saturday, wrote the decks, the options on a list from 1 to 6, rolled the dice, and got stuck with Virtual Worlds, and they did pretty good. They did pretty okay. I got no complaints, which I was really satisfied. Only lost in the finals, and it was due to time, but I really think I would have gotten that if I had like a minute more, maybe a draw even for that specific round. But other than that, the deck performed insane. This list felt really consistent. I rarely bricked. I was trying to go into a mix of mid-range and just doing the combo that we really love with the Beatrice. So other than the last loss, which was to a Voiceless Boys deck, I really felt the deck overperformed. I do think it's a good contender on the meta. Chen is a menace against the Snake Eyes. So I do think that if you play this deck and you really like it and you put the time and effort in it and you don't break, obviously, because it's Virtual Worlds, right? You're gonna do good. So we ran 42 cards. We didn't run the 40. We are doing the transaction rollback with the Ghost Girls, so we really want to minimize the chances of drawing these two cards. It's not that bad if you draw them because you can just discard them with the Virtual World cards, but we don't want that to happen, right? So you know the drill. It's 3 Lulu, 2 Nian Nian, 3 Gigi, 3 Lao Lao, 3 Lily. This doesn't change ever. This is pretty standard. People have been trying to cut the Lao Lao, but honestly, the Lao Lao is the best. Like, it's the best extender we have, right? It puts 2 monsters up to 3 if Nian Nian is in the graveyard in order to keep extending her plays. In a round, I got Nibbed, I got Impermed, I got Ashed, and I still was able to make a Zeus thanks to the Lao Lao, right? So people who play Virtual Worlds know what Lao Lao is about, and if not, you'll find out soon enough, right? For the spells, we run the 2 Qinglong and the 3 Gates, the City. This is the best card. I only ran 2 because space, right? But 2 was enough. Banishing out from Desires, it's really not that common. You mostly banish 1, and even if you banish 2 and you really need the second one, you can just do Nian Nian and shuffle it back into the deck, right? But this ratio was perfect. Like this and any of these is full combo. It doesn't matter which one it is except Nian Nian, because Nian Nian just doesn't do anything by herself. We got the emergency teleport, which is a great extender. We really don't, it's not good enough on its own because it really doesn't put anything on the graveyard or doesn't do anything with the Virtual World names, but it can let you go into Synchro 6 plays or into rank 3 plays. We only run 1 rank 3, but that's enough. Also, if you have Lulu, you can just do teleport for Nian Nian and just do combo. So it's really versatile. If you run Ogre in the main, which I don't, you can just do Ogre in your opponent's turn if you don't use it during your turn. That way you have an interruption because Ogre can send itself from the field. Now we have 2 tactics. Tactics was great. Like, I always love tactics in Virtual World decks. Not only it adds consistency going first. If you get hand trapped by Ash, you can just draw 2 or look at her opponent's hands if you can keep playing. But going second, I managed to steal, like in the finals, I managed to break the board with the Voiceless Boys board. He had a Saravis, right? And I managed to steal the Saravis and make a Baron with Lulu. Thanks to me drawing tactics from the Charge Warrior. So it was really a really insane card, really clutch, came in handy a lot of times. I actually run the 3rd one in the side just because they're matchups, so we really want to see it. Running 3 Desires, it's the consistency card. Nothing to say about this other than that it's a great card. We run the Mayakashi rollback combo, and yeah, it can happen that we banish both, but it does really happen. And even if it does happen, we can end up other things with the extra deck, which can make a pretty strong board, right? This deck can make pretty versatile boards. It's like a toolbox. But if you banish one of the traps, you can just put the other one back to with Nian Nian. So make sure to not use Nian Nian until after you use Desires, right? Because you want to see what you banish from Desires, unless you just shotgun Desires and banish 2, and I don't know, but always save the Nian Nian for after Desires. Now for the hand traps, we run the 3 Ash Blossom. It's just generic hand trap. It's great in the format. I know like sneaking, Snake Eyes and Fire Kings can just steal it from your graveyard, but for me it's always good in this deck. I didn't run Ghost Bell because I didn't have to place it of it, but I would run 3 Ghost Bell too. They're level 3s, right? So even at worst, you can just normal summon a hand trap, either this or Ghost Bell, and do Nian Nian effect and graveyard to revive herself, and you have a virtual name on hand. You can just target the Nian Nian and keep on playing from there, right? So really versatile card. We have 2 Veilers, 2 Nibs, and 3 Imperms. So this is 10 hand traps. I ran 42 cards, so I think it's a pretty good chance of seeing at least 1. Of seeing at least 2 is not that high of a chance, but we really want to pair up 1 hand trap with non-engine for this deck, and we don't really want to discard lots of cards to stop our opponent from playing, because then we cannot discard our cards for our effects to keep on playing ourselves, right? Lastly, we're running the 2 Chuche, which is the best trap this deck has, right? It's really insane card. Just pop in and you can dodge Imperms and Veilers with this card. So sometimes it acts like a pseudo enemy controller or some of the sort, right? And Shangwu, which is the second best extender we have. Sometimes you just send this and leave it in the graveyard to your next turn so that you can have follow-up depending on what you're playing against. It's also part of your main combo line if you start with Lulu and the Gate, because you do GG and you have to send this in order to get Baron out, right? So lastly, we run the 2 broken traps. Honestly, Transaction Rollback is a broken trap. This one is just the broken effect, right? These are 2 bricks. Like, this deck has many bricks. This is brick, but we can discard it with this one and this one, so it's not that bad. We also have Desire so that we can fetch some cards. Deck can brick sometimes, but it doesn't happen as often as I would say Flunderies, which honestly, out of 10 hands, Flunderies has like only 7 playable hands, so that's like 30% break ratio. This one, I always have playable hands. Next, for the extra deck, we have the best Doccardo. It's Beatrice. She just locks you out, right? She sends the rollback along with the Mayakashi trap, one of your turn, one of your opponent's turn, and then your opponent cannot special summon from hand, deck, or graveyard, which hand, deck, or extra deck, sorry, which is insane, right? It's like a Cyflock, but with steroids. I don't know what else to say. Wallow was really clutch. It was really good. I actually managed to steal Tactics from my opponent's graveyard, and I just steal Heartbeat's Feather Duster from my opponent's graveyard. If I had more time in the finals, I would have used this property in order to do more damage. But my opponent, it was just a really long game 1, which I had to scoop earlier. I didn't. And then game 2, I paid half my life points with throwback, and then I couldn't manage to deal damage during time, right before time. I managed to get into battle phase, but my opponent just put forward a big wall, so I couldn't do much. Lars was good. I summoned him quite a few times. He's just an negate. He cannot be targeted while he has material, so that's pretty cool. He's also great because during your opponent's turn, you just negate something. During your turn, you can just slap the Night Lancer, attack, and go into Zeus, right? It really depends on what you have, but Night Lancer is the other card we're running. M7, I used it to grind out with some hand traps. I really like M7. People have been cutting it from some lists, but it's really versatile. It can give you follow-up, it can give you extenders. It's also a big body, 27, so it can go through something in order to make Zeus. Then we have the last rank 6 Fan. I love Fan. Like removing a card from field and graveyard, that's basically the level 10 synchro from Sword Soul, right? So but this just detaches too, so it's pretty good. This also has a floating effect if it's destroyed by your opponent, which doesn't come up at all as often, but it's pretty good. Lastly, for the XCs, we have the only rank 3 Break Sword. I did summon him quite a few times. I always run Break Sword in my virtual world list just because you can even target your spells or traps, your breaks that you open, if you manage to open like teleport and get into him and just destroy it, destroy your opponent's card, and you have now that card in your graveyard, right? So you can manage to activate it. And we have the Zeus, which is Zeus. This deck has always ran Zeus, but we also run the anti-Zeus. This came up just once, really not that common, but it's always good to have just because there are boards that this deck just cannot break, right? Next, for the synchros, we have the Malong, Charge Warrior, and the Juju. These are the Synchro 6. Malong is great, right? Like going first, it gives you Baron access, and going second, it helps you break boards. Like I managed to break a voice board with their barrier, even with their targeting effect protection, because I managed to do Malong, and then I used him in order to make the Fan, and Fan banished one from the field, one from the graveyard, which was a barrier, and then this triggered, bounced the card from the field to the hand. So it was really versatile. I really like the Malong, and it gives you access to the Baron, which is part of our Embor going first. It's an Omni Gate going second. It just sets up so much pressure because you do Malong and then you do Baron. So Malong will trigger to bounce a card from your opponent's field to the hand, and if they have something to respond to that and it's a pesky monster, you can just Baron negate and problem solved, right? Lastly, we have the Chen, which is same as Chen, great boss monster. People are opting to not end up Chen more often, but sometimes in this deck, if you banish like transaction rollback along with the Mayakashi trap with desires, you just end on Chen, Chuche, and maybe Lars or Baron the Floor, right? So that's strong enough because virtual worlds, Fire King, Snake Eyes, and Snake Eyes Pure basically cannot play. Rescue Ace, all of their spells and Rescue Ace monsters and names will be banished, so Turbulence cannot be summoned by its own means. It has to be by emergency, and Chuche takes care of that, right? So really, Chen puts so much pressure against those fire decks. It's insane. Like once you play against those decks using this deck, you will just realize how strong it is. And last Synchro 9, I didn't summon it once, but I always like to play it because it gives me not only removal going second, but also a combo line going first if I kind of break, right? So yeah, this is the extra deck. Now for the side deck, a pretty standard side deck. It's just the one Tactics, which I ran just because I like the card, right? It was really cool. I ran 42, so there are matchups where I want to see it, want to maximize the chances of seeing it, so I just put it in the third. The draw, I think I should have mained the draw, but I was scared of Shifter. There were lots of Shifter decks in the tournament. I think I resolved it once, but it didn't really help me out that much. 2 Cosmics, Lightning Storm, and the Harpies, just the back row removal extravaganza, right? Cosmics is great against the Fire Kings, and this is just being wary of these decks like Kashtira or Labyrinth or Vanquish Soul, stuff like that they can just set cards and be problematic. This can also remove monsters, so that's pretty good. Monsters in attack position. One called by. I just wanted a 15 slot, and I think this was good enough. I did see it quite a few times after I sided it in. It's just good against Ash and these other hand traps, and it's great going second against the Snake Eyes and against the Fire King variants, right? Because you can banish the Princess, you can banish the Garunix, you can banish the Flamber's Dragon, so it has lots of options in order to banish. Next, we have the 3 anti-spell. For me, it's a staple of virtual worlds when you go first, just because it's either this or skill drain, right? Skill drain because you put so much attacks on your board. Like all of your monsters can be big, and your virtual monsters are activated in the hand. The Shuche is a great card. You can just pop the skill drain. But anti-spell just shuts off most of the cards. It shuts off Bonfire, the Sinful Spoils, Fire King Island. It's just a brand diffusion. You know, you have to set the card before you activate the Trust. It's just great. I love this card. We'll always play it when I play Virtual Worlds 1 first. And lastly, it's the evenly match. People are opting to not play the evenly match just because even after you evenly a Fire King board or Snake Eyes board, they can still leave some interruptions. But I still think it's great against the Snake Eyes variant if you manage to actually bait the negate, if they end up the Brown negate or the Savage negate. And it's good against Rogue always. It's not going to be great against all the decks, but it's just, for me, versatile, webs the board. And I did not see it once, but I was glad it was in my side deck. I think there were other options I would have just ran, but we had, like I said, we decided to play this deck on the morning of the OTS, so I just made a list from scratch in the morning, and I did pretty well. So yeah, this is the list I used for the OTS. Pretty standard Virtual Worlds. This deck is in a good spot, even though it is Rogue, but last time it was in the radar. It was for Tri Brigade 2 format. It was pretty good. I played it a lot during that format. I do think it's in a better position now, just because Chen Chen is so powerful against the format, and transaction rollback with the trap puts so much work against all of these decks that want to just play unfair, so you have a more unfair game plan, right? I really hope you guys like the deck profile. I really enjoyed playing this deck during the OTS, and I know you guys will too. Let me know in the comments if you have any opinion on changes I could make, or if you want a combo video. I'm gonna do that during this week, just to show like 2 or 3 main combos for this deck and the Unchained deck too. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and yeah, I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you guys for watching.